Hey guys, Steve here. Today we got a game in the Alabama for you. I got Sims on the screen. This is the build I run on the American Battleships. Sheer is the inspiration I got on this one. Those of you running kind of the accuracy builds on your battleships, you should consider putting Sheer on there. He cuts down the fire chance, and he also helps cycle the damage con. So when we're not building with the defensive-oriented commanders, Sheer is a nice kind of mitigating influence, kind of softens some of the rough edges on those builds. Of course, the accuracy, if you run the precision perk in slot 1, you add a dramatic increase to the fire chance, and that helps mitigate that a little bit. So consider that one. Anyways, here we got a game on the map, Greece, domination mode, and today I want to kind of talk about training map awareness and then using it to create crossfires. We've been talking about creating crossfires as battleship players. Of course, we're trying to break the sort of collective habit of battleship players dropping the anchor in the back, not really moving much, waiting till everyone's dead, and then deciding they need to become relevant. Early on, though, basically my point is by moving around, you enhance your ability to really threaten the enemy team, as we'll see in this game. But early on, what are we going to use the map for? Okay, we can look on the map, and kind of one of the frustrating parts of backline battleship play is a lot of times you see two nose-in battleships that are protected from each other. Just lob shots left and right for 10, 15 minutes. You look over, by the time you die, they've done about as much damage as we just did on that CNOP on their, the well-angled counterpart 25 kilometers away from them. So rather than doing that, if you're going to sit in the back, at least be looking on the map for broadsides. You can see most of those red targets are nose in on us, but the CNOP is presenting the best option there, and we're doing that by just essentially looking at the mini-map in between every shot. All we're doing is briefly lining up the shot as the guns are about to be reloaded. Make sure we're aimed where we want to be, fire, and then we basically resume back. We zoom out and then resume looking at the mini-map. We zoom out for a couple reasons. Number one, we'll peripherally be able to see any kind of incoming fire. It's easier to notice what's going on in terms of your surroundings, but zooming out just kind of forces you to stop staring at your shot, and then it'll kind of give you another clue or a cue to check the map again. And checking the map, the more often you can do it, the more time you spend looking at the mini-map, the more aware you're going to be of what the enemy team's doing, opportunities for those broadside targets. But you're also got to keep an eye on what's my own team doing. You can see most of my teams on B they're fairly well angled now, though eventually as we keep looking at that map, they basically just turn broadside en masse for some reason. And you can also keep an eye on your own angling. You can see your ship is represented as an arrow, and we're primarily going to be pointed at the most dangerous threats to us at various times throughout this game. Now, the Benson goes down. I believe it was the Benson, that destroyer. We turn in here, and this gives us an opportunity. Basically what we were doing until this point in time, using the map to look for broadsides, but maintaining our angle and our distance. Now that that destroyer has been destroyed or removed from the map, that kind of is like the pressure relief valve going off. We no longer being held back by the threats of the close range torp. So now what we're doing is we're moving forward, and then we're just creating broadside opportunities. You can see basically the position we're attacking, the group of ships directly below B. They're forced to be angled kind of against that northern group on B, my team that we were just talking about. But by doing so, we recognize that we got a lot of different broadside ships over here. Move forward, I don't know, maybe a grid's worth, and then we are still angled. And look at on the map, we're pointed down at that Iowa, and I think it's a CNOP south of us, and that'll give us basically a 0-degree angle at those guys, and then roughly a 45-degree angle at these guys. So if these guys were not, they're distracted by the northern people that they're fighting currently, so that allows us to give them a 45-degree angle. Not perfectly protected by them, but we're also being protected by their distraction factor. The guys at the south have nothing to shoot at us except for the ships over here, so we need to be angled at them, pretty well to minimize damage. But because we found this position on the minimap, Now we're getting these broadside shots, and we're going to try and kill some of these ships or damage them, allow them to, or the guys on B, my blue team, to at least have a chance. Might be saying to yourself, looking on the map, these guys to the south are broadside. Those are juicier shots. But those guys really aren't affecting the game at the moment. They can shoot at me, but I'm protecting myself from them. They can shoot at my, another ship that's near me. Can't do anything about that. But the guys that are attacking B in a group of 4 or 5 or whatever it is, those guys have a massive influence on the outcome of the game at the moment. So they're pushing in. They're actually winning B. They're killing all my ships over there. So that's why I'm targeting that group, because we needed to identify. You always need to be identifying who's influencing the game right now, and then you need to be dealing with those guys. So again, these 2 targets, juicy broadsides. You can always make the case if you're looking at the map, I need to be looking for those broadsides, but you need to keep the focus on what do we need to be doing to win the game. Always, you need to be constantly evaluating that. So now we're looking at the map, and we can see this Scharnhorst, and I think it's like Ghanai's now coming around behind him. Previously, we've been pretty well angled against everyone, but you can see where they're going on the map. They're trying to get around that island. When they do, they're going to basically have a flat broadside at me. No longer the 45-degree angle that we were presenting that group earlier, but now they're going to be having basically a 0 or a 90-degree angle to fire at on my ship. That's when we can get wrecked very quickly. So we're going to try and back up here, but you can see it takes a while to start and stop on this thing. But backing up, we're trying to angle towards those ships coming around the island. Now, luckily, this guy hits the CNOP with the torps, and that'll allow us to get the guns over there, take him out. So major help with that destroyer. I don't know if he knew the importance at that time, but that allows us to kind of continue to angle, and the CNOP was going to be the most dangerous threat, having a very flat broadside to attack. Watching this back, I kind of disagree. I should be killing that Iowa. Then we can totally focus on these ships in terms of our angling here. Right now, we're kind of forced to split the difference between the Iowa and those ships. I understand why I wanted to, because they were coming around broadside. I wanted to get a wicked salvo if possible. This guy may look fairly broadside on the screen, but if you look on the map, he's 45 degrees plus, so it's not a bad angle for him to be at. But the Iowa did send one salvo down here, and he could potentially send more. Just go ahead, aim up superstructure, take him out. I kind of get why I was thinking what I was thinking, but that's kind of one of the luxuries of watching your own replays, is you can identify mistakes and learn from them, hopefully. Anyway, these guys are continuing to, looking back on the map, they're going to continue to try and get access to my broadside, so I pump it back in reverse. We're just going to try and maintain the angle. Luckily, those ships on my team chipped in there big and took them both out. And by the way, when you look at the scoreboard at the end of this game, I think it was this game, I think we have 5 guys over 2,000 in the base XP, which anytime you get 3 players over 2,000, I think you get a pretty good core group. And, a game like this where you have 5 or, even higher than that, those are good teams. Those are fun to be a part of. So anyway, getting back to what we've been doing here, this video I've just been trying to, as much as possible, say, okay, here's what we're seeing on the map. Here's how we react to it. Normally, though, when you're watching replays, assuming you're watching replays of a player that has good map awareness, pretty much, the majority of what they're doing should be reacting to what they're seeing on the map. So usually I'm not going to call it out on most of my videos saying, okay, here's what I see in the map. Here's what it translated to on the screen. That's why I'm kind of taking the time to do it in this video. And we've done videos like this in the past too, and hopefully they're helpful. But if you're going to be watching replays of myself or others, that's a good time to practice the map awareness. You got more time. You're not actively holding the control, fiddling with the buttons, reacting to stuff in the first person. Rather, you're sitting back and just kind of enjoying the video, hopefully. But these are good opportunities to really just try and sit down from the start of the game, say to yourself, all right, I want to, in between every single shot, at least look at that map for 2 or 3 seconds minimum. And here's how I'm going to start doing that, and then we're going to practice it. And then the more you do that watching the replays, then that'll hopefully start to bleed over into your own game. Likewise, when you're actually playing the game, to kind of get the ball rolling. You really have to force yourself almost in a mantra-like fashion, like mini-map, and then kind of just keep saying it out loud or in your mind until you kind of begin to get a habit. Once you get the ball rolling and it becomes something that your brain knows is an objective to do, then you'll get better and better at it. You'll just start referencing the map more and more. It's something that I played a lot of games, but I'm still working on getting better at reading the map or focusing on the map. But you can make the case that ideally you want to spend more of your time reading the mini-map than looking on the actual screen. For sure, you don't want to be zoomed in looking at the pretty arcs on your shots, or it's very easy to be distracted by a lot of different things on this game. But to really know, what's going on, you got to be kind of focused in on the map like a laser. So as a Battleship player, when it comes to reading the map, early objectives should be to kind of, number one, make sure you're not pushing too far forward so you're putting yourself into crossfires. Number two, or 1A, perhaps 1B, look for those broadsides. You're going to have 3 or 4 or 5 targets right off the bat, rather than shoot the first one that pops up onto your screen and then just focus on that one for the rest of the game. Keep looking at the map, look for those broadsides, and then as the game develops, look for opportunities to pursue broadsides and then react to the situation as it unfolds. So that's kind of the main idea in terms of the overflow of the game. Anyway, that's a look at the Alabama. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships, but a lot of times,